Without boring you with the details of my life, I've personally experienced periods of anxiety and depression. There were even times where I contemplated taking my own life. Fortunately, I never acted on these crazy thoughts, and to be honest, I still have bad days from time to time. But I've developed much better ways to deal with these negative emotions, and in this video I'm going to be showing my top 10 rules to overcome anxiety and depression. This is based off personal experience as well as several thousand hours of research looking at scientific journals on brain health. I share my top 10 rules to overcome anxiety and depression in the hopes that it will help at least one person listening to this going through a rough time. Even if this helps just one person listening, this was worth investing hours of time into scripting, filming and editing. So let's get into it. Rule number 1 is to find inspirational stories from people we admire who have overcome struggle. The human brain learns far more easily listening to emotionally engaging stories rather than random facts and figures. Whenever my mood is low, I find it very helpful to find inspiration from others. Whether it be Oprah Winfrey overcoming being repeatedly sexually abused at the age of 9 by her cousin, to go on to be one of the most successful and influential people in the entire world, or Abraham Lincoln, who failed his first business in 1831 and experienced a major nervous breakdown in 1836. This is nowadays called an anxiety attack or panic attack. As we all know, Abraham Lincoln went on to become the 16th President of the United States of America. By listening to these inspirational stories, it can help to give us hope that we too can overcome struggle in our lives. Rule number 2 is learn something new every single day. I initially started studying the human brain because in my mind I had no choice. It was either I figured out how my own brain worked and how to become happier, or I would end up taking my own life. It was that serious for me. So I spent several hours every single day reading up on brain research papers. It was during this period that I discovered that brain chemistry influences how we feel emotionally, and I was able to use this information to help myself feel better. It was also through this process of learning something new that I was able to find more meaning and purpose in my life, which gave me a reason to get up in the morning. You don't have to necessarily learn new things about the brain. Pick something that you personally enjoy, that you're personally interested in, because everyone has different personalities and interests. By learning something new every day, you help to train your brain to become healthier and more resilient over time. Rule number 3 is put your ego aside and ask for help. One of the hardest things to do if you're experiencing anxiety and depression is to talk to other people. But it's through talking with other people that we're able to express our emotions, and even just the act of talking alone can be therapeutic in itself. This can be talk to a friend, a family, or even a medical professional. But by reaching out for help is actually a sign of strength, not weakness, that many people assume. You also have the opportunity to get a completely new perspective from someone else when you're willing to open up about your mental health. And I have found this rule to be extremely helpful for me in my life whenever I've gone through dark periods. Rule number 4 is regular exercise. I know that some of you right now are probably rolling your eyes thinking, yeah, I know that exercise is good for me. But I'm gonna ask you, do you really know it? Because knowledge is completely useless without action. All of the benefits from exercise come from actually doing it, not just knowing about it. Exercise has been shown in many studies to release neurochemicals of happiness. So things like dopamine, serotonin, endorphins and oxytocin are all released when we do exercise. So exercise actually helps us to feel better, even though it's one of the last things we want to do. We just want to stay at home and not go out. But if you're able to overcome that initial hurdle and just get out the door and go for a walk, just get outside and start exercising, it can be extremely beneficial for your mental health, and you will almost certainly feel better as a result of exercise. Rule number 5 is a healthy diet. It's impossible to talk about exercise without mentioning nutrition. Nutrition is super important for our mental health and mental well-being, because we need ingredients to make these brain chemicals of happiness so that we feel better. So vitamin D is needed to activate the enzyme to create serotonin in our gut and brain, as well as to increase the amount of dopamine. and vitamin C is needed to make oxytocin. So we need to get all these building blocks if we want to have more of these brain chemicals of happiness so that we can feel better. So diet and nutrition is super important for our mental health. Rule number 6 is sunlight exposure. As well as increasing the vitamin D in our body through sunlight, it actually also gives us UV rays, which help to increase the dopamine levels in our brain and help us feel more motivated. You can combine both sunlight and exercise by going outside for a walk or run. Rule number 7 is understand that social media is a highlight reel. One of the leading causes of depression and anxiety, especially in the younger generation, is social media and this comparison of yourself to other people on social media. Understand that social media is a highlight reel, highly edited, highly curated, filtered pictures and videos of people showing the best moments of their lives. So it's not really a realistic depiction of someone's life. They're not showing you all the mundane stuff or all the struggles that they're experiencing behind closed doors. So by understanding that social media is a highlight reel, you can avoid the trap of comparing your real life to someone else's highlight reel. Rule number 8 is don't believe every crazy thought that your brain comes up with. The human brain generates tens of thousands of thoughts every single day, depending on which study you look at. So it's literally a thought generation machine. And many of these thoughts will actually be lies. So there'll be things like, oh, you're not good enough, or so-and-so said something about me. And a lot of these are actually just our brain making up these stories. We don't know whether it's true or not. So if you're able to separate yourself from this internal voice, you actually empower yourself to have more positive self-talk and tell yourself that you are capable of more, you are worthy of being here. And I actually believe that we all have some ability to add value to the world in our own unique way. Rule number 9 is realize that anxiety and depression is extremely common. It's estimated that there are over 280 million people in the world who suffer with depression alone. And that doesn't include anxiety or even the people who don't even talk about their mental health, which I believe is probably most people. Realize that you are not alone. Millions of people experience anxiety and depression every year. It's just that most people aren't talking about it openly. There is so much stigma surrounding mental health, as people are often scared of being labelled crazy. Hopefully, by more people openly talking about mental health, we can help to reduce this stigma that is pervasive in our society. Part of being human is our ability to feel emotions, both good and bad. Having negative emotions from time to time doesn't make you broken, it makes you human. If you found this video helpful, hit the like button. It's completely anonymous and helps to push out this information to more people through the YouTube algorithm. If you want to see a part 2, let me know in the comments below. I actually have plenty more tips with dealing with anxiety and depression. Subscribe to achieve better brain health and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos. Check out the more comprehensive video on meditation where I share my personal meditation techniques backed by science. Remember to prioritize your brain and mental health. Take care everyone, I'll see you in the next video.